Hi everyone, I am recording lesson 5.4 factoring that we went over today in class, or I guess Monday in class, just because some people were having trouble with it, and I'm just going to go over the lesson so that you have it if you need it. So we are factoring expressions using the ladder method, and what you need to do for this type of question is you need to be able to find a factor, or even better, the greatest common factor. So to do it using the ladder method, you just draw a piece of your ladder, and you find a number that goes into both terms. The number that goes into both terms, for example, 1 is 2. Then you almost treat this like a division sign, and you'll do 8m divided by 2, which is 4m, and then bring the sign in the middle. 2 divided by 2 gives us 1. Because 4m and 1 both don't have any common factors other than 1, that means we're finished. So what you do is you take this part, 4m plus 1, you put it in a pair of parentheses, and whatever you have left on this side would go in front, and that's your final answer. So again, this is like reverse distributive property. If you notice your answer looks like you should distribute, that's essentially what this is. Example 2. Number that goes into both 10ab and 2a would be 2. You do your division. 10ab divided by 2 is 5ab, plus 2a divided by 2 is a, or 1a. Now, if you notice, both of them have a's. That means we have to take an a out as well. You divide 5ab by a, you get 5b, and then a divided by a, you get 1. Because 5 and 1 both don't have any other common factors other than 1, we are done. This goes in a pair of parentheses, and then on the left-hand side, you have two terms. If you have two terms on the outside of your ladder, you have to multiply them to get what goes in front. So 2 times a is 2a. That's what goes in front, and that's your final answer here. Example 3. Number that goes into both 7x and 21y would be 7. And do your division. 7x divided by 7 is 1x, or just x, minus 21y divided by 7 is 3y, or just 3. 1 and 3 both have nothing else in common besides 1, so I'm done there. And x and y are both different variables, so I can't take out that variable. So 1x minus 3y, and then bring down the 7 in front. And example 4 is an interesting one because 29 is a prime number, and no number will go into 29 besides 1, which means it doesn't have any common factors with 12. So this is an example that cannot be factored. Okay. One other example that it's not going to be exactly the same as the one I did in class, but I'll do something similar. Let's say 12x, actually I think it is probably similar, or exactly the one that we did in class. So if we have 12x plus 48, say you're not sure what the greatest common factor is, but you can find a factor, you can easily do this type of question still. So say I think that the biggest factor is 2. It's not, but let's say I do. Now we divide 12x divided by 2, which is 6x, plus 48 divided by 2, which is 24. And then I notice that, and I'm like, oh man, I can still take out another factor. So I'm going to take out another 3, or a 3, because I noticed 6x and 24 both can be divided by 3. So then 6x divided by 3, you get 2x, plus 24 divided by 3, you get 8. And I look at that again, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can still take out another number, 2. 2x divided by 2 is x, or 1x, plus 8 divided by 2 is 4. Finally, I have x plus 4. That's the simplest it can get, but now I have 3 numbers on the left-hand side. To get the number that goes outside the parentheses, you multiply them. So 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. So 12 would be your final, or your number that goes outside the parentheses. Okay? And then I'll just do one more example here, because in class we went over, in class we pretended oh my gosh, what am I doing? We pretended that was a negative, because I should have given you an example with a negative. So pretend that that's the question. Negative 3x plus 9. I'm going to draw a piece of my ladder and I'm looking at it and I see a negative there. You always want to take the negative out. So if both terms or one term has a negative, you pull that out. Common factor is -3. Now you do your division. -3x divided by -3 should give you 1x or x, and then +9 divided by -3 is a -3. So that is your final expression in your parentheses, because 1 and 3 don't have any other common factors aside from 1, and then you bring whatever you have down here. So -3 times 1x minus 3 would be your answer. And that is it.